Hi everybody, welcome back to Tidbit Tuesday. Today we are going to go over the extension for Sketchup called Vertex Tools. This is a paid extension, but it's one of the ones that I use the most, aside from Sub D and quad face tools when doing any kind of complex modeling. So we're going to go over just some of the most useful tools today and some of the processes that I use, but there are other tools that I'm not going to get to. If you have questions on any of those other tools, or if you need help, feel free to give me a instant message or email me and let me know, and we can maybe work something out for you. So these three bars are the three Vertex tools, and you want to make sure that when you download Vertex Tools that you are downloading Vertex Tools 2. There is a Vertex Tools 1. It does not have all the tools in it. So make sure that when you're getting this tool that you are purchasing the Vertex Tools 2. And these are the three toolbars that you're going to get with it. When you activate the tool, the first thing you're going to want to do is click on one of these two buttons at the top, and you're going to start off with the selection tool. It is going to pop up this tool window over on the side, and we'll talk about some of that in just a minute. But you'll also see that any place where two edges come together is going to create a vertex, which you have the ability to now manipulate. You can't do this without this function through just the regular SketchUp platform. So when you have the vertices showing, what you're going to do is you can select them. You can draw a box around them, select them like that. You can also use some of these other selection methods over on the right hand side or on the left hand side and draw around like that. You do have to keep in mind about what it is you're selecting, because you will often select things in the back that you're not aware of. If you don't want to do that, then there are ways that you can, if you right click your mouse, you'll get a little pop-up window and you can say ignore back faces, and then when you're selecting, you're not going to select the things behind you. So another way that I avoid selecting inappropriate vertices is I will switch to X-ray mode too, and that sometimes clarifies whether I've selected the correct or incorrect vertices on my shape. So the first thing that I'm going to show you how to do is you obviously, when you select something, you get this little, they call this a gizmo. You can move these vertices how you like. You can select them and just move just one, or you can select a whole bunch and move them at the same time. You also have the ability to, whoops, I like the square selection tool. Rotate. You've got on this gizmo, you've got a blue rotation, a red rotation, and a green rotation. So you can rotate things like that as well. Okay. You will notice that things get a little weird and bumpy when you start messing with some of this stuff, so you do have to pay attention to what it is that you're selecting and what it is that you're moving. I'm going to just undo to back to the beginning here. But if you select your space bar and then you go out of the tool, what I'll do is I'll use my quad face tools bar up here, and I will click a line, and then select that ring or that loop, and then click my tool, and then because I've selected that loop, everything all the way around is now selected. It's made that selection from the standard view and transferred that selection over to the vertices that are related to them. So then if I wanted to scale that, I could do that as well. Okay. One of the things about Vertex Tools is that it does help you maintain your quad geometry. We talked about that in our last tutorial, so that it doesn't deform and break up your faces and cause all kinds of issues when you're trying to run sub D on your geometry. So that's the basic way that you're going to manipulate things. There is another option over here I'm going to show you. If you go to this second bar, and if you'll notice these little buttons, they hide and show all the windows. So the second, there's your information, and then your selection, and then your relax, and then your gizmo. And again, the gizmo is your arrows that's controlling your selection. Okay, so there's a very useful tool in here. If I just select these top four up here, the soft selection will spread your selection out in a soft manner, I guess is the best way to explain it. So over here it defaults to 0, but if we change it to 3 inches, whoops, that's probably not big enough. Let's do 6 inches. You can see now I've got some of my selection is green. If I go to 12 inches or 24 inches, you can see that as things, the farther away from my actual red selection it is, the more the color fades to blue. And what this is showing you is the effect of what's going to be affected by the changes that you make to these 4 vertices that I've selected. So if I rotate this top one, all of those ones are also going to rotate, but in relationship to how far away they are from the selection. So if I scale now, and if I hold my shift button, then I'll scale in all 3 directions. If I click on the little, it's hard to see, the little end of your vertex or end of your gizmo thing right there. Whoops, that was the rotate. Sometimes it's hard to grab, but if I hold shift and I do that at the same time, it will scale all of them at the same time. So now we've got a cool little shape here that was just done with my soft selection. That also comes in handy if you've got something like a cushion. And we are inside a group here, so you can have to be inside your group, and if you click on your tool here. So now I've got this set up to soft select 24 inches. So if I just select these over here, you'll see everything up to there is getting selected. Farther away from my selection, the less effect my transformation is going to have. So I'm going to change this to, let's make it 6 inches. Now you can see that if I move the selection, it's going to move this in a softer, more relative way. So if I had this back at 0 and all I did was move those pieces, you can see it's going to be very straight and very inappropriate. That's not the kind of a movement I want my pillow to make. So I just want my pillow to maybe flatten out a little bit at the bottom. So if I make this 6 inches here, soft select there, and then if I soft select on this side and I scale it down, you can see that it's going to do it in a much more natural way. So I can affect the shape of this pillow without causing all kinds of weird straight edges and creases in my geometry. Maybe I don't want this to be quite so pointy. I'm going to squish it in a little bit and scale it down. And maybe I'll rotate it a little bit as well, so that, if you're trying to make a pillow conform to the bed that it's sitting on or the sofa that it's sitting on. And obviously the higher this number gets, so if I put this up to 18 inches, it's going to have a larger effect on the overall shape. I use this probably the most when I'm working with soft materials. It really helps to ease those shapes that I'm making. Okay, so there are a couple other quick tools that I want to show you. The first one, if we are back in Vertex Tools and we select, let's say, just these top 3 vertices, and I'm going to make my soft selection back to 0. Okay, now I've got these selected, and if I pull this up arrow, you can see it's just moving those pieces up. It's just making that shape bigger. If I hold the Alt or Option key on the keyboard, as I do this, you see I get this little plus sign. And if I move up now, I've created an additional set of vertices. So I can extend my shape and then be able to make changes to it. This is another very useful tool when you're trying to model something that will eventually be subdivided using sub D, and you need to be able to create that extra geometry from the edge of a shape. Okay. The next tool I want to talk about is the Edge Slide tool. And if you look on your little windows over here, the Edge Slide tool is this one right there. It looks like the movement of one vertex down the line. So again, I'm going to go into this component and I'm going to select this line, and then I'm going to loop select, and then I'm going to select my Vertex Tools, and I automatically makes those vertices selected. So all the way around, this is going to be selected according to that loop that I've already created. So if I want this line to be closer to the edge of my pillow, if I just move it over, it's really going to change the shape of that pillow, right? But if I do it on this side, I select that loop, and then I select Vertex Tools. And then if I use this edge, or this Vertex Slide button, now my gizmo goes away, and I have to hover over one of the vertices, click on it, and drag it. Now that movement is following the existing shape. I haven't deformed my shape the way I did by moving it this way. Okay, that's another really useful tool. I use that one a lot. And then the last tool that I want to show you for today is called the Bridge tool. And what we're going to do in the Bridge tool is what it sounds like. We're going to bridge two shapes together. It is important that when you're bridging that you have the same number of vertices on both of the pieces. So what I'll do here again is I'm going to select that line and loop select, and then I'm going to select this line and loop select. Okay, I've got those two loop edges selected. I'm going to open up Vertex Tools, and then I'm going to click this button here, which is the Bridge tool. Bridge vertices is what that's going to do. And what it's going to do is draw a surface between those vertices. Now it's a closed shape. Okay, also really useful. But again, you have to make sure that whatever is on this side has the same number of vertices that's on the other side. If they're not the same number of vertices, you will get an error and it will not work. So like I said, there's lots of other tools to play with in this toolbar. We might go through some of them in another tutorial, but that is Vertex Tools in a nutshell, and I hope that you enjoyed this video. And again, if you're looking for more in-depth training on any of the tools in SketchUp, feel free to let me know. I do offer one-on-one tutoring, and it's a great way to really increase your understanding of some of these more complex tools that we have available to us in SketchUp. Have a great day.